What's up guys, AHBCC here, and today we're going to be talking about my top 5 heroes for update 2.1 of Vainglory. Now I do want to say that this list is my personal list. It only reflects my personal views from what I've seen and what I've played, and it's probably not going to be the same as your list or a pros list or a beginner's list. This is my personal list, but I would like to hear your opinion. So definitely leave those in the comments down below. Tell me your top 5, tell me where you disagreed or agreed with me, and tell me why. So with that out of the way, let's hop into things here with number 1. Now, number 1 was actually really hard for me because I wasn't sure if I wanted to go for something really unconventional or really conventional. So I kind of just broke in the middle with Jewel. I feel like Jewel right now is a really strong pick because he kind of just counters everyone who's strong right now. Jewel with CP can one-shot pretty much anybody, and that is an incredibly strong thing to have. Plus the fact that Echo is very strong right now means that CP Jewel is actually quite devastating, and I would definitely expect to see a lot more of CP Jewel as update 2.1 moves on. Now I won't say that CP Jewel is the best in this update. I will say that CP Jewel counters some of the best heroes in this update, and that's what makes CP Jewel so strong. All right, so that's number 5 or 1, depending on which way you want to count. But next, we're going to get on to number 4. Now, number 4 is a hero that I feel might deserve to be higher on this list, but I'm personally not that good with her, so that's why she drops lower. At number 4, I had Petal. Now, the reason that I have Petal here is because Petal is, again, a really strong counter to some of the better heroes in this update. Petal got, I believe, a few nerfs this update, or rather buffs this update, which make her a lot more hard to deal with. But at the same time, I think most of why she's so strong right now is because of the other heroes in this update. Most of the people that I chose are just counters to stronger heroes and not necessarily stronger themselves. So that's my number 4 spot. But what is my number 3 spot? At first, I was going to put Ringo here, but then I decided that Ringo might deserve to be a little bit higher. So instead, I've decided to go with Koshka. Now, I feel like Koshka right now is incredibly strong. She just feels super fluid, and because the jungle is so much more important in this update, her farming speed and efficiency and dueling in the early game make her really strong. I feel like Koshka right now is probably one of the better junglers in the game and really has that ability to bully in the early game, which because there's a new jungle camp and the jungle allows for easier invades and things like that, it's just really much more important in update 2.1. And I will say that Koshka does have some weaknesses. She falls off later, which is obviously a weakness because the game is going longer in update 2.1, and Koshka can be countered by quite a few different heroes. So she's not perfect, but I feel like the jungle changes really made her quite viable in this update and probably one of the best junglers in the game at the moment. So that is my number 3 spot. Now to my number 2 spot. My number 2 spot was pretty easy because I always know who a number 1's going to be, but number 2 was kind of set in stone as well. That's Ringo. For me, Ringo is incredible in lane right now. It's kind of hard to describe why he didn't have that many changes made to him, but I think the major thing that made Ringo so good was because Ringo is a great lane bully, and because there's so much more early game pressure in the jungle now, there's less pressure in lane, which means that lane bullies can take a lot more advantage of enemy laners. To kind of explain this, if you have more pressure in the jungle, there's going to be less ganks in lane, and that means that a lane bully can pressure up in lane, can, overextend a little bit, really go for that extra CS, that extra poke in lane, and not have to worry about being ganked as much. And that's not to say that if you're stupid with Ringo, you won't get ganked. It's simply to say that you can be a lot more aggressive, and if you're smart about it, be safe at the same time. So that's why I think that Ringo's so good. It has nothing to do with him himself. It's more to do with the game as a whole and how the jungle is much more important in update 2.1. All right, so that's my number 2. You guys can probably guess my number 1, but I still have to say it anyway. I think Cruel is the best hero hands down in update 2.1 of Vainglory. He's just like god tier. He is on another tier. I know a lot of people believe Cruel isn't actually that great and that Cruel is actually only good because, I'm low tier or whatever, which I don't think is true. I mean, I'm POA, I play with POA players, so I'm at least like mid to high tier, but that's not the point. The point is that Cruel is good. He has buffs on his A, his B, his passives. Like, he's just better. He's just better in every single way. And beyond that, there's more things for him to farm in the jungle, which means that he can get to his mid and late game even faster. Plus, the new Shiv item works great with him. He's just so freaking good. Oh my god. There are counters to him. I won't say there aren't. Those being most notably CP Jewel, Petal to a degree, and Ringo to a degree. But at the end of the day, even when he has counters in a game with him, he's still very likely to win. And I think that's what really makes him strong. It's not that he doesn't have counters, because he does. It's simply that even if there is a counter in a game with him, if he plays it correctly, he can still win. And that's the scad part, right? That's the scary part. When you know that even if you counterpick this hero in the game, you won't necessarily win, that's when it becomes an issue. So that's why I believe that Cruel is the best hero, hands down, in Vainglory. Now, I will say this is my personal list, as I said in the beginning, and I would like to hear your personal lists. If you guys believe that I'm wrong in everything, please tell me why. But again, do it in a constructive way so that I can hopefully learn a little bit about the game. Because while I am POA, I'm not VG, I'm not the best player in the world, and I obviously have a lot to learn. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. See ya.